Hello and welcome back. Today we are looking at Warlord issue 7. Why? Because it's Warlord Wednesday. This is of course from the first volume from the 1976 series. Now this issue picks up where we left off with Morgan and Maria Romanova, the Russian lady, walking through a city. They've stumbled across the city, and it's one that Morgan is familiar with. He had heard about it. It's a thieves' market, and he has to find a guide to Shambhala because he doesn't know where Terra is, and he doesn't actually know the way. He just knows general direction of beyond the Great Fire Mountain in the forest of Ibandar. Well, he's not from here, so he has no idea where that is. They don't know actually how long he's been gone, so he knows she didn't wait for him because she's obviously not there. So he decides to split up. He's got to go see a man about some business, and he's going to leave Mariah to go on her own. Well, she immediately gets set upon by some thugs, one of whom looks suspiciously like Conan. Morgan shows up in this awesome 2-page spread where she's being captured, and he comes in and guts one of the guys with pushing another one down, and it gives the title The Story of the Iron Devil. It is an awesome shot. Mike Grell wrote this issue and he illustrated it, and I love his art style. Morgan is being set upon by the thugs. Mariah grabs her rifle and shoots the pseudo Conan in the back, and it takes him a minute to fall down and die. He almost gets to her with his double-bladed axe, but she did manage to save Morgan's life, which he is very thankful of. He had concluded his business by the time this happened. He had found a man who can make the secrets of Damascus steel, which he needs him to forge a new sword, and he's going to use her rifle to do it, and she asks why. And he says, well, you're almost out of ammo for one, and second, it's a 243 lightweight sporter, so it's not going to be quite as effective as something else. So since you're almost out of ammo, it's pretty useless because there's no sporting goods stores here. He actually says sporting goods stores. I thought that was funny. And in the meantime, he says you have to get rid of your clothes and get some more native clothes. And she said, what's wrong with my clothes? And I'm quoting here, in that outfit, you're as inconspicuous as a wasp in Harlem. That's not a statement you would get away with today. So he gives her the full treatment, and she gets bathed and dressed by some locals. And he says, well, time doesn't quite work the same here, so our swords should be done. And she said, how? It's been too short of a time. And he said, while you were relaxing in that bath, I ate twice and slept twice. So she doesn't quite grasp the weirdness of the time differential and how time can seemingly pass very randomly around here, which is, I think, how they're going to explain him never aging. At any rate, the sword master, Dak Bel Shan, has produced what he calls the most magnificent swords he's ever done. He's never worked with such magnificent steel before. Morgan agrees they're great swords. He got a broadsword, and he got her a lighter weight blade, and she reveals, there's a secret button that gives stiletto in the hilt of her sword, which is pretty cool. And she reveals that she was the Russian national saber champion for 6 years straight, so she won't need any training with it, which is a very handy skill to have when you're in the Lost World. And as soon as they're walking toward, out of the guy's place and looking for a guide, they get clocked. And of course, Morgan takes one to the head like usual. Man, that guy's got more concussions than an NFL football player. And they wake up in a cell. A short time later, a guard hands them back their weapons and escorts them to a large, beautiful chamber that looks like a movie set, and it is really cool looking. And that is where it is revealed that their captor is Machiste, Travis's old slavery friend. And Machiste reveals that he had been set upon by some beast men in the mountains beyond Kiro, and he managed to kill a bunch of them and sneak away, but before they could regroup and come after him, he found this battle axe by a skeleton that was missing its right hand, and the axe was in the right hand. And it made him feel very powerful when he picked up the weapon, a warmth that became, quote, a fire of bloodlust. This axe allowed him to dispatch the beastmen, and we cut back to Morgan and Mariah sitting there, and he says, may I see it? And he's, no, I've grown rather attached to it. In fact, he can't put it down at all. It's stuck to his hand, and there's this crazed look in his eye as he destroys an end table. While he talks about this, he enjoys the power it gives him, the power of command. And a serving girl comes up to give Morgan some more wine, and Machiste freaks out on her and calls her a stupid wench and says, you Bandasarians are all alike, bunch of ill-gotten cretins, and he's going to kill her for nothing. Travis, of course, intervenes and gives him this cool lecture about the dream of freedom, and he says, you've forgotten the dream we had for a world where liberty means liberty for all, where the weak need not fear the strong, where the credo is not might make right, but might for right. You are not a king, you're just another power-mad tyrant. And then they go to leave, and Machiste doesn't like that, so he summons his guards to kill them. Thankfully, Mariah is as good as she says, and her and Travis dispatch the guards, about half a dozen of them from the look of it. Then Machiste comes after him, and they end up in a huge fight, which results in a missing hand for Machiste. Morgan manages, thanks to Mariah saving him, manages to jump up and chop the dude's hand off, and they cauterize the wound, say sorry. He says, no, it's fine. The monstrous, murderous rage leaves him immediately upon losing the axe. Well, a guard went to throw the axe into a volcano, but picked it up by accident because he's an idiot, and now he has the axe. And it ends there. This was a very action-packed episode. A lot of things happened in this issue, and I really like that. There was a lot going on, and it was a really good story. We get a little bit of character development for Mariah, which is cool. I really like the cover too, even though she's never shackled up to a pillar. It's an awesome picture, and it really looks, interesting and dynamic, and it really does bring a lot into the book because the issue is incredibly interesting and dynamic with a lot of action, very beautifully drawn illustrations. Mike Grell is a legend in comics. If you don't think so, well, I don't know what to tell you. I can't tell you're wrong. So this was a great issue. It's a interesting jumping on point even. Actually, issue 6 probably would have been a better jumping on point, but you could kind of put some of it together here and still get a nice action story. Maybe you won't know entirely what's going on, but you'll get hints of the Atlanteans, and you'll be able to figure out what's going on, and hopefully it'd bring you into this series. But I recommend this one, of course. I think Mike Grell's doing a great job on Warlord. The 70s were a great time for a lot of these type of books. This was very approachable for all ages. The violence is probably a little bit much for younger readers, but I'm sure even like 10, 12-year-old boys will like the action and appreciate the artwork. It's a very dynamic book. So yeah, highest recommendation on this one. I had a lot of fun reading it. I really wish they'd reprint these in like the Masterworks formats. That would be fantastic. I'd love to get these on higher quality paper that aren't fading with age, and I would be willing to pay the $50 for a volume of these. That would be fantastic. So if you're listening, DC, I need these reprinted in a archive edition of some kind. That would be phenomenal. In the meantime, that'll do it for this one. As always, thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.